Hello, folks, and welcome to the Relationship Builders Customize Your Love Life series. You are chilling with Joy and Bobby. So, we just wanted to talk today about single parents and dating, and how, dating affects your life as a parent, or is your love life non-existent because you're, single with kids. So, I remember when I was on my own, and I remember when I met Bobby, and we were talking really early on and just kind of getting to know each other. And I remember him saying to me, kind of like, don't be afraid to open up, because one of these days your kids are going to grow up and you're going to be left on your own. And I thought, he's talking nonsense. He just kind of is trying to get with me so he'll say anything. Right. And the funny thing is that many years later, now that my kids are grown, they actually said, Mom, we're so happy that you met someone and that you have someone in your life, because we kind of felt stifled and choked. We felt like we couldn't do anything, like our whole, kind of like I depended on them for everything, just to not be alone and everything like that. So I realized for the kids, it actually is a big thing. They don't want to see you by yourself. So when you said that to me many years ago, Bobby, why? Where did that come from for you?
Because I've seen it so many times. I've seen, mothers hang on to their kids for their life. And don't want the kids to leave. I remember a few years back when I was much younger, I used to have a friend that used to live close by, and we used to put on, do barbecues in the summertime. And sometime in the summertime when we want to go out, his mother come down, she's getting dressed up and, coming out. And I'm like, it just feels off, you know what I mean? And I realized that when a lot of mothers are single, they hang on to the kids for their life. They want to go out with the kids, they want to do everything with the kids because, they becomes a part of their life, right? And after seeing it so much and see when these kids get older and they can get out, they're gone. And they will come by and visit you every now and then to, because you're a mom, so they will come and check up on you. But, for the most part, they're going to get older and they're going to leave. A lot of mothers put up with a lot more because so they can have their kids around, like the kids could bring their girlfriend or boyfriend over and have sex in the house, and that's okay, because as long as we have the kids around, it doesn't matter what they want to smoke weed or drink or swear or whatnot. They allow that because they need that company. Right? And so therefore, because they don't have somebody in their life, the kids become everything. And sometimes these kids are stifled. Sometimes these kids need their freedom. Right? So when I tell you that, it was just based on what I've seen over and over again, that when these kids get older and they can move out and they're self-reliant, they're going to get going. You don't even have to tell them twice.
But I wonder why. Is it because they just feel like it's like all the pressure was on them to keep us happy type of thing?
Sometimes the kids pretty much outgrown that, right? And sometimes, it's when your time is up. When it doesn't feel like home anymore. You know what I mean? And some kids, they just feel like, you're always there. And they need their independence, they need their space. So, you have to know when to say to let go. You know what I mean? Your kids will let you know when they want you to be a part of their life. But once they get to a certain point, you have to let them go. You can't hold them anymore. They're not a minor. So therefore, they can do whatever they want. And if that kid chooses to spend more time with their friends, then you're going to be home a lot. So, when I hear a lot of mothers using like their kids as an excuse to cop out on a date, it's really a sad thing, because in the end, those kids are going to leave you by yourself. You know what I mean? Yes, they're going to come check up on you maybe once a week or 3 times a month, twice a month. But other than that, forget about it, right? So what you have to start doing now as a single person, and even the single dads have it too. This is not about mothers. I'm just talking about who I'm around a lot. And I saw that the kids actually, hightail it when they get to a certain age. But even single fathers too, because, it's a thing that when a certain individual get older, they just want to do them, right? Mm-hmm. Some kids don't leave home, not because, they want to stay home. They just stay home because they don't have to pay, some of them don't have to pay rent, Some of them is comfort, some of them whatever reason.
Right.
But the bottom line is, if you have a kid that's pretty much independent and wants his or her own things or his own ways, give them a few years and they get older and sort themselves out. They're going to be gone, and then there you go.
Well, I guess for me, what I say to, number of ladies that I meet who are single moms, when they're saying, my focus is my kids right now and da 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 da. What we don't understand is that we're not teaching or demonstrating to our kids how to have healthy relationships. If we're single and we're bearing the burden of everything by ourselves, they now see that, and to them, they're supposed to bear the burden of things by themselves. They don't know any different because they're only living, or they only know what's being demonstrated to them. And sometimes I hear some mothers who have their, older boys, who are, in the same room as them. And it's not that it's a bad thing, but sometimes they want to be close to their mom, but it's not, that's not a healthy way to raise your kids. You want them to have separate space. And, maybe some people will battle and argue that with me, but it's really just demonstrating to them that, I'm mom, and then, I have, your dad, or, your stepfather or whatever, and you're here and we're here, right? And some kids even fight with their mothers as though, oh, well, no, I get to this, or you make that, the mother wants to make a decision, and then a little, like I've heard a mother talk about her 13-year-old son who wants to run the house as though he's the man, but that's the role that he's been put in. So sometimes it's almost like we force our kids to grow up too quickly, or we put too much pressure on them, or whatever. We got to allow kids to be kids and stop putting them in a role of substantial, like adulthood, because they don't see that father or they don't see that mother in the home.
You see, sometimes it's just a kind of, like they say, a kind of innate thing, right?
Right.
So when a boy grew up and there's no male figure, there's no man in the house, sometimes he just assumes that role.
Right.
It's kind of like, the king, once he has a son and he's dead, that king now is that son now is going to become a king.
Right.
So it's pretty much innate. It's there, right? For the majority of boys, right? So one thing, every woman must understand: you can never be a mother or father.
Mother and father.
Just be a mother. You know what I mean? Because when you can't be a man, and you can never grow that boy to be a man. So just be who and what you can be. You know what I mean? At the same time, you have to understand that it's nice to have somebody to help you along when your kids are growing up, because if that person have a good way about them, that kid can pick up off that, right? And like she says, a lot of single mothers always talk about your focus is on their kids, and while all that is great and everything, the focus got to be on you too, because you got to understand that these kids are going to grow up and get older, and if you don't put the focus on yourself, then they're going to move on and have their family, get married, probably later have kids, whatever. They're going to have their families, right? So you now is going to be left by yourself. And when you get older, it's a lot tougher to find somebody, right? Because as we know, a lot of the older people are looking for younger ones, right? So you have to be, my mother always has a saying, she always say, make haste while the sun shines. And I guess when you're still young and attractive and everything, the sun is still shining. But as you know, there's a certain time when the sun goes down, and once it goes down, that's it. You know what I mean? So always remember, yes, you can spend time with your kids and whatnot, but don't let that be a reason for you to pretty much, block anyone that's trying to be a part of, your life.
And what we did was, when Bobby stepped into the picture when my kids were young, he got very involved in their lives. They weren't made to feel excluded. Sometimes when we go on dates, even if we were just going out somewhere to, have dinner, and even if it was like out of town, he actually invited them to come along, and they went. So they were very involved in us getting to know each other. I got to know him first, but after a while, they wanted to know. They kept on saying, Mom, we want to meet him. Mom, we want to meet him. And, that was so important, because now, especially with my son, I'm able to see that through setting an example of what a healthy relationship looks like for him or for them, that I see him doing similar things with, his girlfriend. He's kind of very protective, and he's there, and he spends a lot of time with her, things that he's seen Bobby do with me. So you have to understand, when you have love in your life and someone who treats you well, your kids now mimic that. But when they have nothing, they're not, you know what I mean, they have to try to figure it out. So you want to have someone who's good to you, who can help your kids, or help you set an example for your kids. You don't want to go it alone. I don't think any of us want to. We may use the excuse out of fear that we're, you know, really trying to focus on our kids. But the truth of the matter is, you can't say you want to be alone. And if the right person stepped into your life, even with having those kids, assume that you'd want them there. You know, so we got to stop hiding behind fear, you know, of getting hurt and saying that, you know, we're going to wait until they're grown. Because, I mean, while your kids are growing up, the clock is ticking for you. It never stops, you know. And I feel really blessed to have Bobby come in and said those things. And while it didn't ring true to me at the time, it's just that he was, you know, he was so great in his approach that it was kind of hard to ignore. And just seeing how my kids seemed really so happy to have him around. And when he says, you know, that women can't teach a boy how to be a man, you know, at first I didn't think that was true. But, you know, as I watched my son grow up, I saw my son, you know, the body wash that he saw Bobby using, he wanted me to buy. The deodorant he saw Bobby using, he wanted me to buy. All those things that he saw now a man step in the house doing, he wanted to copy all of that, because he only had his mom and his sister, you know, with, you know, our nice smelling stuff. He didn't know any different. And, you know, and I'm really glad that he was able to learn to be a man through, you know, his stepfather. So don't sell your kids short. You know, you're selling yourself short, but you're also selling them short when they don't have, you know, that male figure, or for the men, that female figure to model after. You know, it's so very, very important. So don't deprive your kids and don't deprive yourself. You know, live your life. Dating is a natural part of life. Your kids are not going to, you know, hate you for it. Of course, you want to choose carefully, right? Because you are bringing somebody in who's going to set an example. But stop using fear as an excuse not to date. All right, so folks, again, thanks again for tuning in to the Relationship Builders Customize Your Love Life series. And we're at relationshipbuilderexclusive.com, and we do look forward to hearing from you. So please feel free to leave your questions and comments below, and we'll talk to you again sometime soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.